Substack podcasts get prettier. The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Substack has dramatically improved its podcast player in its iOS app. The updated app now has a full-screen podcast player, speed controls, accessible playback options, and a customizable playing next queue. We'll link to more about podcasting on Substack from our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. Apple has launched 3 new Apple Podcast collections for listeners to discover new and popular podcasts covering true crime, culture, and entertainment. The collections will be updated weekly and are available for listeners in the US and Canada only from browse and search in the app. Apple Podcasts has also launched new listening reports for paid subscriptions, addressing one criticism in the Podnews report card earlier this year. Target Spot's owner, AudioValley, has published its 2021 annual results. Revenue is up 44.5%. Target Spot earned €26 million in revenue, though the company lost €6.4 million overall. That's $6.8 million. Sirius has signed a content deal with I Am Athlete, an athlete-led media network. The agreement will mean SXM Media will have exclusive ad representation, while I Am Athlete will get a new nightly show on SiriusXM's Mad Dog Sports radio channel. Brian Moffat is taking part in Rain's podcast Business Lunch tomorrow at 12 Eastern. What's he doing with his additional network growth role at NPR? And how come podcasts is at the centre of it all? You can take part for free. We link to the registration form today. And Twitter, which was planning some form of podcast integration, has been bought by Elon Musk for $44 billion. Musk is the world's richest man and also owns an electric car company, a space exploration and communications corporation, a tunnel construction company, an artificial intelligence research laboratory, and a company making silicon chips that can be implanted in your brain. Yet, inexplicably, doesn't appear in Wikipedia's list of James Bond villains. And in People News, Michael Lapointe has joined Vespucci as editor-in-chief of Paperless. Michael's writing has been featured in The Atlantic, The New Yorker, The New York Times, The Paris Review, and The Times Literary Supplement, among others. His first novel, The Creep, was published by Penguin Random House last year. And in podcast news, 5-Minute Food Fix is new today from ARN's iHeart Podcast Network. Yumi Steins and Simon Davis, who met while they were working on Yumi's cookbook, are hosts. Shows drop 3 times a week. New from Wondery and Amazon Music, Will Be Wild has been launched from Pineapple Street Studios, a deep dive into the January 6th insurrection at the US Capitol. And Ghost Church by Jamie Loftus is new from iHeartMedia's Cool Zone Media today, looking at a nationwide religion across the US dedicated to communing with the dead. More details on all 3 of those coming up. But that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.
I'm Yumi Steins, introducing the 5-Minute Food Fix, where in just 5 minutes we solve the daily problem of what's for dinner tonight.
And I'm Simon Davis. I've been editing cookbooks for 20 years. Basically, I live, breathe, work and eat food. If you need dinner inspiration, and let's face it, who doesn't? Then get your 5-Minute Food Fix 3 times a week for free right now on the iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, Simon, I've written cookbooks and fed my family. I've worked in commercial kitchens and loved food for my entire life, and yet still the conundrum of what to feed my family gets me. So listen right here, follow us on Instagram, and never again feel like you don't know what to cook for your family and friends.
On January 6th, thousands descended on the Capitol at President Trump's urging.
Some reinforcements up here now. They're starting to pull the gates down. They're throwing metal poles at us.
Be there, he tweeted. We'll be wild.
What now? What now? Every single unit that you got hit on the building.
But what happened that day is so much bigger than Trump. I'm Andrea Bernstein.
And I'm Ilya Meritz. From Pineapple Street Studios, Wondery, and Amazon Music, this is Will Be Wild, a podcast about January 6th. But it's not a recap of the news you hear every day. It's a deeper look into the forces that led to an insurrection and the fight to save democracy before it's too late.
It's about the people who were there that day.
Y'all, we're 1 block away from the Capitol now. I'm probably going to go silent when I get there because I'm going to be a little busy.
We'll see you soon, Jess. Airborne.
The people who saw it coming.
We're not saying we think that when the president speaks, people do violent things. We're saying the evidence shows that it happens.
And the people whose lives will never be the same.
I started being tased from behind. I mean, that was pretty terrifying. I mean, there were people in the crowd that were chanting things like, get his gun, kill him with his gun.
We talk about January 6th like it's in the past, a day in history that we survived. But it's more than that.
No, we didn't dodge a bullet. That was a practice run. That was an A/B test. Which works, which doesn't. Now we know how to refine the message going forward. Right? Insurrections without consequences are just practice runs.
Will Be Wild premieres on April 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
I would ask you if you believed in ghosts, but every time I do that, there's like a swarm of angry Redditors that descend on me like wasps. So I'll ask you this instead. Have you heard of Ghost Church? My name is Jamie Loftus, the creator behind Lolita Podcast, My Year in Mensa, and a bunch of other stuff. And I love a freaky niche American experience. So what if I told you there are camps across the U.S. dedicated to communing with the dead? What if I told you the religion behind these camps had attracted the likes of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Frederick Douglass, Mary Todd Lincoln, Queen Victoria, Dan Aykroyd, and the first woman to run for the U.S. presidency? No? Well, what if I told you I've been there and I've seen it myself? American spiritualism is a religion I've been tangentially aware of for years, but it wasn't until I went to the religion's largest surviving camp in Cassadaga, Florida, that I started to learn about the U.S.'s bizarre and somewhat tortured relationship with spirit communication. The assumptions that come along with it are expected. Is it a cult? Are they witches? No, and relax. But the reality of how the religion came together, how it was blown apart, and how it's managed to mostly survive for nearly 2 centuries undetected is fascinating. My new series, Ghost Church, follows this uniquely American religion from its origin to a week of me sweating in Florida, listening to mediums drunk gossiping at a karaoke night, trying to make ends meet. I went to spiritualist churches, ghost churches, across the country to find out how a religion that was started as a prank by 2 preteen sisters in upstate New York snowballed into a movement that consumed the final years of Harry Houdini's life. It's not a cult. They're not witches, but the history of American spiritualism intersects with the history of the industrial era, of the rise of science, of the backlash to first-wave feminism and abolition, and today, with the billion-dollar New Age movement that the religion hasn't managed to capitalize on. I'll be taking a look at this entire bizarro history, on our impulse to debunk systems of belief, at the celebrity psychics that have watered down and jacked up prices on access to spirit, and take you on my own journey through a week communing with the mediums of Cassadaga, Florida. Taking a class where a table would connect you with the dead spirit of your pets, to services where reverends tell you about ghosts you didn't know were standing right behind you, to rivalries between mediums and psychics who are neighbors. I'm not asking you to believe or disbelieve anything. I'll be interviewing mediums from the camp and skeptics alike. I'm just asking you to get in the spirit circle with an open mind and see what comes through. You can listen to Ghost Church by me, Jamie Loftus, starting on April 25th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.